I stared at the black screen of my smartphone for 3 hours last night. It sat there, cold and heavy, on my oak kitchen table. No missed calls, no unread messages, just my own reflection in the glass. An old woman with silver hair and eyes that have seen 84 years of life, waiting for a ghost to ring. You know that silence, don't you? It's not the peaceful kind of quiet. It's the kind that rings in your ears. It's the sound of a house that used to be filled with the thumping of small feet and the slamming of screen doors. Now, the only thing I hear is the ticking of the grandfather clock in the hallway, mocking me. Tick, tock, still waiting. Tick, tock, still alone. For 10 long years, I lived for that little black box. I was a slave to its battery life. I took it to the garden while I pulled weeds, fearing I'd miss a thinking of you text. I kept it on my nightstand, right next to my glasses, so I could see their names light up the room in the middle of the night. I even took it to the bathroom. I was a prisoner to a maybe. Maybe they'll call today because it's Tuesday. Maybe they aren't too busy this weekend. Maybe they finally realized how much I miss them. But yesterday, at 8:14 p.m., the air in the kitchen felt different. It felt thin. I realized something that made my blood run cold. A truth so sharp it cut through a decade of denial. I wasn't waiting for my children anymore. I was waiting for people who didn't exist anymore. The little boys who needed me to bandage their knees were gone. The teenagers who needed a place to hide from the world were gone. In their place were successful, busy strangers who viewed me as a relic of the past. So, with a hand that shook only slightly, I pressed the power button. I held it down. I watched the little spinning wheel, the thinking icon, disappear into a void. I turned it off forever. And what I discovered in that sudden, total darkness is something no parent ever wants to admit to themselves. It's a secret that stays buried in the hearts of millions of seniors across this country. But before I tell you what I found in the shadows, I need to tell you about the Christmas that finally broke my spirit. I spent 4 full days preparing for last December. My knees ached from standing on the stool to reach the silver spoons my grandmother gave me, the ones I only polish for special occasions. I bought the expensive ham, the one with the honey glaze my son used to beg for when he was 10. I even bought those small, colorful crackers that make a loud pop when you pull them. I wanted to hear that sound again. I wanted to hear laughter that wasn't coming from a television screen. I sat by the large front window for 5 hours. I watched the snow pile up on the gravel driveway, convinced that any moment a pair of headlights would turn the corner. I had their favorite childhood ornaments ready for the tree, the ones with their names written in glitter, now fading with age. The phone rang at exactly noon. My heart didn't just beat, it leaped. I almost tripped over the hallway rug, trying to reach the kitchen table. It was a video call. My son. His face appeared for maybe 20 seconds. He was in a bright, loud room. I could see the steam from a coffee machine and hear people shouting in the background. "Hey, Mom, look, we're absolutely swamped this year. The kids have that ski trip in Aspen, and traffic is a nightmare. We sent a digital gift card to your email for a nice dinner. Talk soon, okay? Love you. Merry Christmas." Click. The screen went black before I could even tell him I baked his favorite apple pie. I stood there in my silent kitchen, surrounded by enough food for a family of 10, and I realized a bitter, cold truth. I wasn't a mother in that moment. I wasn't even a person. I was a task on a digital to-do list. I was a notification he had to clear so he could get back to his real life. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat in the dim light of the Christmas tree and looked at my hands. I realized that I had spent 30 years building their lives, and in that long, exhausting process, I had completely deleted my own. I had made my children my only reason to breathe, my only hobby, and my only identity. We often think that if we give them everything, our youth, our savings, our very souls, that they will be the safety net that catches us when we fall. But children aren't meant to be our retirement plans for the heart. They are people with their own lives, their own stresses, and unfortunately, their own selfish streaks. The mistake wasn't theirs for moving on. The mistake was mine for staying still. I had become a waiting room, a place people only visit when they have no other choice or a spare moment of guilt. I looked at the dust on my old painting easel in the corner of the guest room. I smelled the crisp winter air outside and realized I hadn't gone for a walk in months. because I was terrified I'd miss a call. I had abandoned the woman named Evelyn just to serve a family that had already said their goodbyes years ago. I was 84 years old, and I was a stranger to myself. I had been waiting for them to tell me I was worthy of love, when I should have been telling myself that all along. The moment the phone screen died, the air in this old house finally felt clear. The heavy, suffocating weight of expecting simply evaporated. I walked onto my porch this morning and sat in the wooden rocker. I didn't check my pocket, not once. I watched a blue jay struggle to build a nest in the oak tree, and for the first time in a decade, I wasn't a waiting mother. I was just a woman enjoying the sun. If you are sitting in your own silent house right now, staring at a phone that refuses to ring, I want you to hear me. Your heart is still beating for a reason. Your eyes can still find beauty in a sunset or a good book. Do not let your joy be held hostage by someone who doesn't realize how precious your time is. Being healthy at 84 isn't about blood pressure or vitamins. It's about reclaiming the pieces of your soul that you gave away for free. I am 84 years old. My house is quiet. My phone is dead. But for the first time in my life, I am finally, truly awake. I stopped waiting for them to call me, and I started calling myself back to life. And that is a connection I will never, ever lose again.